Hi everyone, it's Anne. Welcome to my new channel, Annie's Abstract Art, where I do just that. I thought it would be fun to kick it off with a small abstract art piece on a 5x5 paper canvas using mostly acrylics and lots of techniques. The video will start now. Enjoy. So here I am warming up this paper canvas, which is 140-pound watercolor paper with Buttermilk acrylic by DecoArt. So because I pre-gessoed the sheet, there's tons and tons of texture, a lot of little nooks and crannies that I will show you right here, close up. You can see all that texture. So here I am preparing my palette with Oxide Yellow, Mars Brown, Cold Gray, Midnight Garden, and Raw Sienna. I also have Antique Maroon and Sea Mist Blue off camera. And I'm mixing it with matte medium to create a glaze, starting with the Raw Sienna to warm up the overall hue of the canvas. So adding it a thin glaze over the buttermilk. And then, so it's very, very light and translucent. And then I go full strength with the Mars Brown. And I love the contrast. And now it's time for a cool color because everything else was warm. So I'm using the Midnight Garden and the Sea Mist Blue. So they're, both in that blue-green, kind of like turquoise color scheme, but definitely has more green in it. And then the light blue, which is the Sea Mist. And I'm just creating this center kind of panel that I'm going to go over. There's going to be so many layers, but that's what it's all about. You lay something down and you think that that's how it's going to stay, but then you go over it again and then you scrape into it, you create texture. Now I'm switching to a palette knife to get those skips. And so I'm using the cool colors, adding a little bit of the white. And now I'm using a plastic card to add the Mars Brown right over all of the Midnight Garden, and I'm scraping into it to get all the texture, and you can see the colors that are in the layer below. So I do that and then go into a couple of areas with the white, and then here I do some dry brushing to get that texture, and then go into it with the card, scraping it. One of my favorite things to do. And now with the stippling brush, I'm doing stippling, which is pouncing, and then also doing some swipes. So you get different effects. And so I'm just going all around. So now we have cools and warms, and I'm rotating the canvas just to see where I am. This kind of looks like a landscape, but that's not what I'm going for. I just kind of want something very abstract. So now I'm using, I believe this is the Oxide Yellow and more of the Buttermilk, and I'm just scraping, kind of getting all of those layers coming through, those scratch marks, and now adding black. So this starts out on the bottom in this perspective, but it ends up being on the side, like right here. And this is how the piece kind of finishes, this perspective. Now this is Antique Maroon, fantastic color. It's kind of like a burnt red, but it also has that orange in it, like rust. There I added a little bit of the cream and then I wiped it away. Now I'm adding the Oxide Yellow, not cream, the Buttermilk. Adding more of the Oxide Yellow. I love that color. It's like a translucent color, has that burnt orange in it. And now the secret sauce, the lightweight joint compound. It's like Fluffernutter meets gesso. And I love using it. I like to use the heavy body all-purpose joint compound as well. And this is an oil pastel stick in like a deep red, just for a little bit of a brighter color pop. And now what I'm doing is going over a lot of the canvas with the Buttermilk again, making sure that I do not cover up that center piece too much. I mean, it looks like I really covered it up, but enough is showing through. And then I'm going over that red area, scraping through. In here, I am removing some of the joint compound to reveal some of the colors underneath. And now I am going into the left side with black, which ties in with that black along the edge on the right. But because it's going into the center, it creates a focal point. And I'm kind of dry brushing. I don't want the paint to be too thick. I want to get kind of like those skips and maybe see some of the colors that are underneath. And now I am working this section right here. I'm going to add more of the antique maroon, which almost looks like a reddish brown. And then I'm going to go into it with a small brush, do some dry brushing. And then I am going to go into it with the raw sienna, which is very thick. It's a heavy body. And I just love the way those two colors go together. And now I'm using the palette knife to like really lay on the thick paint. It's not heavy body paint. It's actually just really old and dried out. So it kind of works for me. And now I'm using the antique maroon to go into the black. Both areas. Now I'm just adding a little bit of the lightweight joint compound again, and now with the Micron pen adding some very fine lines, and then I go into the bottom with charcoal, and then a little bit with a small brush, a little bit more of the Buttermilk, and then just smooth over this joint compound so it's flat. And it is done. You can see all of that delicious texture. So thank you so much for watching me create my very first piece for my new channel, Annie's Abstract Art. I hope you enjoyed it half as much as I did. If you have any questions about my process or materials, which I've detailed below, leave a comment. I would love to hear from you. And if you're new to my channel and you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you will because I upload regularly. Until the next video, take care. I'll see you soon.